on the Texas A&M Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to the Aggie Football Hour, brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, a leader in agricultural financing. Also brought to you in part by Coors Light, Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. Twisted Tea, hard iced tea for the 12th man. Please drink responsibly. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all. And by Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. Now, the Aggie Football Hour, brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, a leader in agricultural financing. Here's the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco.
Howdy, welcome. After a 34-17 win over Florida last Saturday, the Aggies are ranked number 4 and 6-0. And Mike is pounding the top of this wooden table. We thank you so much for joining us. Arkansas, Saturday, 2:30, 1:30 for our Memorial Hermann pregame show. And we will review the win over Florida. We will preview that matchup with Arkansas. But first, we say howdy to the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. Howdy, Mike.
Howdy. Guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Everybody good? Everybody in a good mood tonight?
They're all here for you.
I think they're here for you.
Maybe.
I think I'm like the side.
Maybe.
I'm like the side part of it.
Thanks for feeding my ego.
Well, for sure. I actually think I saw a sign outside that said "Here for Andrew Monaco." If I remember correctly, I think that's what it said.
I painted it. Let's talk about that win and overall. You said something on Monday that I really like, that this team is growing. You said there was good, there was adversity, we overcame adversity, ended up really good. Is that a sign of growth by this football team?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's I think some of the fans, some of the people out around college football, it's not Texas A&M specific. I think this is everybody is having to recalibrate what the new world of college football looks like. And we talk a lot about it is very similar to the NFL now. I think the top has come down a little bit. I think the bottom has come up a lot a bit. And you have a lot of really, really similar teams. And so when you go out on Saturdays, especially in conference games, you're going to have to battle through things. It's not the days of the, Alabama 52, this team 7. Like, you don't see those scores anywhere. No. You don't see them in the Big Ten. You don't see them in our conference. And that's just the nature of college football today. And so I think one of the things that was really cool about Saturday was, we got hit in the mouth a little bit on defense early. Mm-hmm. We were able to kind of stabilize it and then go out there and really settle and hold strong for a really long time. We started really fast on offense, kind of sputtered a little bit through the middle, but then we're able, when we needed it in the fourth quarter, to go out and find it and do the things we had to do to put the game away. And so I think those are all really, really positive signs in terms of playing the game the right way, playing the game together to be successful.
Two things Torian York said post-game. The first thing is he said, we won this game on Wednesday and Thursday, and that's that preparation. You say there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
And totally get that. But when that mindset comes, are you seeing more of that work over the course of the week going into the Saturdays?
Yeah, for sure. I think we try to spend a lot of time in our program talking about, what does greatness look like? What does championship DNA look like? What does championship culture look like? I'm a firm believer that if you want to be something or you aspire to be something, you study it. You study it with everything you have, and then you try to chart your course to become that. And so I think one of the things that we believe at the core of our program is that you have to earn the right to have success on Saturdays. A lot of people have heard me say that. It's one of my more popular lines, and that is, this time of year, that is what you do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday out there on the practice field. It's going out there and earning the chance. And I always talk about that because sometimes you have a really good week of practice, and then you relax at game time because you think you're like it's the entire duration of it, right? Like you gotta fill, like we talk about it this way, you gotta fill the bucket all week. You gotta fill the bucket with preparation. You gotta fill the bucket with emotional intensity. You gotta fill the bucket with competitive stamina. Like you gotta put a lot of things into your bucket and then go out there on Saturday and empty it. And then you come back on Sunday and you start the process of filling it again all the way. And that's just what it is to be a champion, and that's what we're obviously aspiring to be.
The other thing he said on Saturday is that when Florida won the toss and took the ball, he was mad because everyone knew what the first play was, and they wanted Florida to defer, so the Aggies would get the ball first.
Yeah, we felt like we had a good first play. We felt like we were dialed in for the first play, and I think everyone was kind of aware of it. I know the offensive guys were excited about it, and it actually kind of played exactly how we thought it would. And I think guys were excited to see that one.
You have talked in the past about how Marcel at times can be anxious in the beginning. Does that take some of the anxiousness away of knowing? And if you do script, does that make him more calm going out there?
Yeah, you would hope so. You would hope there was a confidence. And I think sometimes it's just like getting that first one under your belt a little bit. And I think he's obviously honing in on trying to control his emotions, controlling what he does, controlling where he's at when he goes out there. And I don't know if you noticed, there was a lot of excitement from him early, maybe even a little bit more than he's shown on some other successful plays throughout the course of the year. And I think he was fired up with how he started the game. I think he felt like he controlled his emotions really well and controlled his mechanics really well to go out there and start the game fast like he wanted to.
On the second play, he has a convoy of Nate Borkacher in front of him, as well as others going into that end zone. And someone tweeted earlier this week, if you just watch 87 play for the Aggies, you're going to get so much enjoyment for all the things that he does for his teammates, and he was doing that all game.
Yeah, and I think those are the guys, and you've been around the insides of the program that we try to point out so many times. Is it's not just the flashy, catchy guys, and you need them, and I'm certainly glad that we've got them. But there's a lot of guys that are doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make that happen, and you would say Nate falls into that category for sure and is kind of the epitome of it. Theo is in that category for sure, and then the other guy who's starting to get himself into that conversation is Mike O'Reilly, who is becoming a real physical presence, and you're starting to see him kind of on the top of piles moving people down the field. And so there's a lot of really good culture in that tight end room of doing the dirty work, and they're all capable pass catchers. You saw that with Theo, makes a big third down catch. Nate makes a couple big catches. Amari jumps in and makes a couple catches, and they're all very capable pass catchers. And so it's not that we're not attempting or they're not part of the passing game, but they also have a physical side and a physical edge about them, and those things matter an awful lot when you're trying to win SEC football games.
We're just getting started here at Rudy's. It's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We want to tell you, Aggs, that play the Texas Lottery today for your chance to win exciting prizes. And remember, luck happens to people like you. Keep a lookout for chances to win from the Texas Lottery. Texas Lottery supports Texas education and veterans. Scratch them, gig them, scratch them tickets and gig them from the Texas Lottery. More of the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. And there's a question waiting for you as well.
Always.
This week, come on back to Rudy's. 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to give you a VIP Aggie basketball fan experience this year. Go to 12thman.com/maroon contest and register. One winner and a guest will receive game tickets, a VIP tour of Reed Arena. You'll be recognized on the video board during the game. Register today, 12thman.com/maroon contest. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, proud partner, Texas A&M Athletics. Bucky McMillan was at SEC Media Days, and we will start the first Aggie Basketball Hour with Bucky McMillan on Monday. That will be from 7 to 8. The following Monday, the 27th, will be the first Aggie Basketball Hour with Joni Taylor, and Bucky will have his second show. Aggie Volleyball preceded us. We're just taking over Rudy's with Texas A&M Athletics.
Everything's rolling.
Absolutely. Carol has checked in.
Oh,
yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. Normally, I would say Alan Cannon first, but he'll understand when I said that Carol has already.
Alan, how are you? Good to see you, buddy.
Always good to see AC. Round Rock, Temple, New Braunfels. That's Matt Simon's roommate has checked in. Victoria, and Frank in Tampa is headed to Fayetteville on Saturday. Not close, but he's making the trip.
I like it. Thanks, Frank.
Let's see some maroon there at Razorback Stadium. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. You went with T formation in the throwback uniforms. That was pretty cool. Talk about a throwback to see three in that backfield. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, not because of the throwback uniforms, but we've got a couple of those things up our sleeves a little bit this year. Just some different things that, again, we really went out and exhausted research and study and what to do in those short yardage situations to make sure we had the answers we needed this year. And that was just one of the little wrinkles that we've kind of had in our sleeve, and that was the right time to pull it out.
It was really neat to see. I also, just like last year, it was nice to see Emmett's son close out the game on the ground.
Yeah,
at the end.
Yeah, it's another unsung hero, right? It's another guy who has a ton of talent and certainly would be in line to get a lot more carries if he was in a different program, but has been here and stayed with us and is a tremendous culture kid for us and a really talented running back. And obviously with Le'Veon going down, it kind of shifts some things around, and Le'Veon has been our 4-minute back, but EJ, has been our second 4-minute back. And so with Le'Veon down, it was time for EJ to get out there and kind of ice the game away, and he was able to do it.
One thing Ruben Owens said this week is he absolutely wants Le'Veon to be around the team. Ruben said that helped him last year, being around the team and how helpful everybody was for that. But he also said, I need what's in between Le'Veon's ears as we navigate all of this. And it'll be good for Le'Veon Moss as well, won't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's another massive shift for us in a program philosophy since I got here as the head coach. It used to not be that way. It used to be when the injured guys got injured, they kind of were gone until they were healthy, and we don't do it like that anymore. And so every injured guy in our program is at everything, and so you still see Jerome Miles every morning in team meetings. You still see Chase Sims every morning in team meetings. I think it keeps them in and around the culture of the guys. It helps them on the days when things aren't going great, and then when you have those older guys, there's a mentorship piece of it. We still try to travel them when that allows itself to happen, once he's healthy enough to get on a plane and go travel with us. And so I think those things are critical. And we actually started this. I think people will be interested in this. We actually have a Friday support group now where all the injured guys go in and just kind of sit in a room together with some of our mental health professionals and just kind of talk through where they're at with everything, because it's hard. All those kids came here to play football. They came here to be part of Texas A&M football, and you're taking away a huge piece of their daily routine. And a lot of people don't think about how impactful that is on a young person's mental health. And so we try to support those guys as best we can.
It kind of hurts. I understand the way I say this. It shouldn't be their entire identity, but they're 18 to 21. It can be part of their identity, and when you're not in that situation and you feel removed, you lose a little bit of yourself. This is part of that support to make sure that they don't fall into that kind of depth.
Yeah,
correct?
For sure. And it's not that it defines them, but everybody has what the thing is that they're most passionate about, right? As you get older, it's usually not a game. When you're young, sometimes it is a game. Sometimes the thing that you're most invested in and most passionate about is a game, and that game is taken away from them, and that can impact them no different than any adult who lost something that was really important and impactful in their life would impact them, right? And I just don't think people think about it in that context, right? It's a big deal when they don't get to do what they love to do. And so, again, you try to make sure that you just put arms around them and make sure they're okay getting through it.
When we come back, I'm going to ask you about what I thought was the turning point of the game, and then a 12-play, 50-yard drive. You only used half the field, but you took up 8 minutes.
Can we talk about that for 8 minutes? I'd like to talk about that drive for 8 minutes, because that was a pretty good drive.
That's when we come back. It's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, and it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Thanks to the generosity of 12th Man Foundation donors, Aggie student-athletes have the resources to succeed at Texas A&M and beyond. Start your tradition of support today at 12thmanfoundation.com. We continue. It's the Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, and it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Ross Campbell produces Aggie Football in our Learfield studios, and we have the A and the B team with us. Kevin Menchow, B team, Jeanette Menchow, A team, and they had shirts made up, and they are wearing the correct shirts. They are to my right.
Love it.
4th and 6, Florida goes for it. Aggies get the stop, take over midfield. 12 plays, 50 yards, and 8 minutes later, the Aggies punch it home. That was the absolute turning point, I thought.
I thought, it was interesting. And, again, when you talk about adversity and having to win, overcoming adversity in the fourth quarter. So it's a 24-17 game. We throw the interception. So we got to go out there on defense. They put a little bit of a drive together. We stop them on the 4th and 6. From that point on, we run 20 of the next 21 plays in the fourth quarter. It eats away about 11 minutes in total. And the next time they get the ball, it's a minute 20 left in the game, and we're up by 17 points. And I think that's rising to the fourth quarter challenge and rising to the things that show up in the fourth quarter when it's winning time and you got to go make those plays.
I know it's not the same time frame, but it reminds me that in the Auburn win, the 2 stops at the end, one before the 2-minute timeout, and then the one after that, and on offense to take up nearly that entire fourth quarter. And then Florida, and they've got to call the timeouts with like 4.5 minutes because they want the ball back, but didn't settle for the field goal. It was the touchdown. Then you added in, it was 17. It was just great to see. I know it's not complimentary football, but it kind of was as well. But it's just nice to be in that position and impose your will a little bit.
For sure. And the term we always use is like take the air out of the game. And I think when you have a lead in the fourth quarter, you can take the air out of the game. And I've said this to people, and we've done this a lot. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to run the ball. It doesn't mean you have to play conservative. We were able to because we were having success doing it. But when the clock's running and you have a lead, like to let the clock bleed, to let the clock run down, it just, the other team feels the pressure. Like it just puts some game pressure on the other team to go, okay, hold on. Like we thought we were going to have 3 possessions. Now maybe we're only going to have 2. Like now we got to start using timeouts to make sure we get the 2. And you can feel the pressure. And that's what you're trying to apply in the game to the other team, is to try to get them out of their comfort zone. And I think there's some things you can do with clock management in the fourth quarter to really help that.
And then you made Florida one-dimensional. They had to throw.
They have to throw, right? Yeah. And so then they come out and so that was the other part, and we talked about this a little bit in our Monday meeting with the team. But so you put that drive together, you finish it with a touchdown, which means now they're down 14 and they're really up against it. And so we know it's pass only. Not to mention, you got 105,000 of your best friends who are now really excited, and so that defense comes out and in a must-pass situation. And that's a lot of fun to rush. If you ask defensive linemen, okay, we're gonna put 106,000 people in the stands, so the snap count's not going to be very multiple because they're not going to have a lot of options with what they can do with the snap count. We're going to play Mobamba, so everyone's going to be going crazy. Go get the quarterback. It's literally the only thing you have to worry about. It's a fun place to be.
Absolutely. We flip it to the other side. No sacks, no negative plays. Won the lines of scrimmage against a good line of scrimmage team.
Yeah, offensively, and again, like football at its core is so simple. It really is. And we talk a lot about what we call championship execution on offense, and we have this, basically it's a don't beat yourself chart, right? It's a chart where we grade, and we do this every day in practice. We grade every single practice the same way, but, it starts with, and we finally did it, it starts with no penalties, no sacks, protect the quarterback, no going backwards, protect the football, right? Those are things that are completely in your control. You control every single one of those. Not an ounce of talent goes into any of that. Those are just things you control. And so that matters, right? And we talk about down and distance matters on third down. Well, when you don't go backwards, now you're in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. I don't think there's any misunderstanding that the fact that we were our best third down game of the season came on a day where we didn't go backwards at all.
Yes.
Right. And so that puts you in third and much more manageable all day and gives you an opportunity to have a lot more success.
2 for the last 33. They've converted opponents in SEC games. That's special.
How many streaks are we going to talk about tonight? Are you the guy?
I was going to ask you what happened on those 2.
Right, I have this vision of you at the end of the first inning at an Aggie baseball game.
No.
Hey, look at that guy. No. He's pitching a perfect game today. I wonder if I say that every day. Well,
yeah. So sure.
2 for 33, yes.
Yeah. Okay, let me flip it. 31 of 33, you've stopped. No. You wanted to be better on third down offensively, and you have in the last 2 wins, but back to the lack of negative plays.
Yeah.
And at the very least, it's no gain, but that positive. 2nd and 7, most fans don't understand, is way better than 2nd and 10.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And both sides of the ball, I'm joking a little bit about the third down thing, obviously. But, like, the reason why we've had so much success on defense has been, if you look at it, there's been an insanely larger amount of 3rd and 7 pluses than 3rd and 6 or less. Like, almost 3 times more 3rd and 7 pluses than 3rd and 6 or less, right? And if you look at the percentages across football, like, the difference is defenses stop people on 3rd and 7 plus 80+% of the time, right? And so the more you're in that down and distance, the more likely it is that 2 for 33 is where you go. Defenses stop offenses 22% of the time, 3rd and 4 or less, right? That's not where you want to be, right? And so that's a big part of how you're controlling games. And then offensively, it goes the other way, right? It's the same inverse. And so one of the reasons why we were struggling so much on 3rd down was the penalties. And that's leading into, okay, now it's 3rd and 12. And 3rd and 12 is not a really good place to be in the SEC. It's just not. It's very, very challenging with the rush, with the length, with the athleticism, with the multitude of looks that you can get put at you on 3rd and 12. It's just a really hard place to live.
The bridge is next, so that means Mike's going to get a chance to meet everybody during this next break. So the bridge is next.
Who's our bridge speaker tonight?
It's Ruben Owens.
Oh, good.
Yeah. He pulls out a phrase. The reason why it's the best thing that I heard was he said, as a freshman, he was talking about in relation to where Jamarian Morrow is as a freshman and where he was. And Ruben, like, look, I just wanted to run the ball. And I was a little high school Harry out there. So he said that. So I wanted to use that, and that's what I'm going to play next.
I love it.
You got it. The bridge is next as we continue. The Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. The Aggie Football Hour and The Bridge is brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, the largest agricultural lender in Texas. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. The best thing I heard this week, Ruben Owens, explaining how much better he is this year compared to his first year.
My freshman year, I'm going to be honest, I was just running. I was just doing some high school hairy stuff. But me now, knowing the blocking scheme, knowing what's going on with the O-line, knowing how many safeties is it, knowing who's dropping down, it improved a lot.
Ruben is the bridge. When we come back, more of your questions as we continue. The Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. And this is Aggie Football from Learfield. Howdy, Ags. Score, taste, touchdown at your next tailgate with Hellman's Real Mayonnaise, the official mayonnaise of Texas A&M Athletics. Do dip with Hellman's and do no wrong. Saturday, Arkansas, 2:30, 2:35 foot to ball at Razorback Stadium. 1:30 with our Memorial Herman pregame show. Man, he's got a good first step as he just comes around that corner and sits down.
Just getting shorter.
It is. That one was very quick. That one was quick because it's question time. And this is from Kristen Taylor, who tracked me down and sent me an email.
Okay.
Fighting Texas Aggie class of 92.
Okay.
There's a number of things here that she has heard, and she just wants some clarification.
All right, let's roll.
Can you explain to her GRIND?
Ooh.
And what it stands for?
I can. So GRIND is, I'll give you the whole story on GRIND. So this is you only get this at the radio station or the radio show. So for years, you would hear kids talk about, I'm grinding. I'm out here grinding. I'm grinding every day. So really, you woke up at noon and you went back to sleep at 2. I don't think you quite know what grind means. And then my own son started hitting me with it. And I'm like, yeah, but I've been at work for 7 hours already, and you're not even out of bed yet. I'm not sure that you're grinding. And so when I became a head coach, I kind of wanted to take that word and put it into an acronym. I just thought it would be a cool word to use. And so the G stands for grit, which is kind of that mental toughness that you need to be successful and kind of overachieve in life. The R is for relentless effort, which is basically pouring everything you have into everything you do. The I in the middle is always integrity, because who you are and how you represent yourself and your program is everything. The N is now, which is just kind of living in the moment, enjoying the moment. And the D is dependability, right? And just being the same person every day, every time you show up in the building. And so we kind of took that word and just used that as kind of the core of our program and said, if you really want to grind, this is what you believe in, this is what you'll be all about, this is what ultimately gets you to be successful.
That does not take talent.
None of it, right? And you want, like, I think that's what you want, right? When you talk about, like, what are the pillars of the program, what do you stand for, you want those things to be things anybody can achieve and accomplish. And I think one of the things as a leader that you're always trying to do is pave a path through success that's attainable, right? And you know, you can't tell every kid in your program, you know, in order for us to be a championship program, you've got to have 2,000 yards rushing, right? For some kids, that's just not a reality, but each kid can kind of adhere to the 5 pillars of our program and do their part to help uplift it all.
Kristen also has heard reference Men of the 10. We've talked about it before, but she's heard about that, and I like the shirts now.
Yeah, so the shirts are like running wild now, which is cool. That's what you want. So, you know, when you talk about offense, there's one football, right? But there's 11 people on the field, and so there's one person who has the ball, and the men of the 10 are the other 10 people trying to get that one person in the end zone. And so sometimes that's the backside wide receiver running to throw a block for the running back. Sometimes it's the running back running the throw block for the quarterback. You'll see a lot of it with our offensive linemen working really full of effort to get downfield and throw blocks. You saw it 2 weeks ago with Nate Borkacher pushing Casey Concepcion into the end zone, right? Those are all, in our opinion, elements of being the men of the 10. And so anytime somebody does that at what we define to be a championship level, it gets noticed, it gets pointed out, and then the player of the week for the men of the 10 gets a T-shirt for it.
It's awesome. She also wants to know, because there were fewer than 4 penalties, did players get golf carts to their cars?
They did. So just so we're on the same page, we got to get Kristen to kind of fill in some questions. These are 3 like really good questions.
Oh, there's another one.
Okay, so we did not offer the golf carts as a reward to not get penalties. So there were 2 things that they came kind of separate. So what happened was, and I appreciate it, it's like we talk about this leadership council that we talk to every week, and wanted to hear the players. And I think one of the things that the players, you know, you play a hard game, you play a long game, and then the walk to the garage, and it doesn't sound like much, but our kids are a little bit spoiled. And so that's okay. And so they asked, you know, is there any way to get golf carts kind of shuttling from Bright to the garage after the game for the guys who played a good amount in the game? And so that was coming off of the back-to-back weeks where we had a lot of penalties. And so I said, yeah, if you win and you commit 4 or fewer penalties, I'll have golf carts. But if you lose or you commit too many penalties, then you'll walk to the garage. And so I just took it as an opportunity to try to kind of tie all of the things together. And so I didn't think of the idea, but when the idea was brought to my attention, I kind of used it to try to help anything we can to curtail the penalties, we are going to try to do.
Along those same lines, Kristen also knows about the Cabo Fund.
Okay.
Can you get the refs to contribute to the Cabo Fund when they miss or make a bad call?
The refs in the SEC have yet to make a bad call, from my opinion. I think every time I've watched a game, I agree with every call that the refs in the SEC make. Nobody does a better job than the officials in the SEC, and they are better than anybody.
Answer to that one, Kristen, is no. Outstanding. Step aside. Fantastic segment. Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, presented by Capital Farm Credit, rolls on from Rudy's. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. When you need a new roof or just have a pesky leak, you want to call on the winning team at Schulte Roofing, home of the Bulletproof Roof Guarantee. Get the best. Visit SchulteRoofing.com. Got to tell you, Coach, you're really in trouble now because Rip Arbella Volterra answers Carol Howdy from the Italy A&M Club.
Oh, boy.
Guess who's also going to Tuscany? I'm guessing now Carol's going to be.
Yeah, we might have a big trip going out there.
as I've said, I don't know if we're going.
Yeah.
It might be others.
It might be others.
Representing
It might
us.
be others. I know Brandy is planning on assisting the trip, so that's already kind of been locked in. Ben's doing security for the trip, so he's going.
Yeah.
I know my wife is for sure going, and so there's a lot of people that are locked in.
I hope they have a great time.
Yeah.
That's all I can say now.
Yeah.
I think one of the coaches' nights needs to be there.
Yeah.
I just think that's what we need to do.
It'd be fun.
I wanted to ask you about. I was talking with some Arkansas stations this week in a preview of the game, and they bring up about this defensive line and the Albert Regis and DJ Hicks and Tyler Onyedem, and they were talking about how the D-line, since you've been at Texas A&M, has been so important to those defenses. And what we've seen in football, have we not, that now on the NFL level with Nnamdi Madubuike getting big money and Aaron Donald and Bobby Brown's in Carolina. You've had those guys. But they're finally getting paid. Not that it wasn't important in the past, but that D tackle doesn't get an awful lot of credit, but it's integral to the success of a defense, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I think what you're seeing now is maybe a different wave of D tackles that are a little bit twitchier. And have the ability to rush the passer. It seems like the money on the defensive line in the NFL has always been reserved for the people who can affect the quarterback. There's always been those, big nose guard, run stuffers who were always integral pieces to the game. But if they didn't pressure the quarterback, they couldn't get paid at the level that maybe they deserved. I think what you're seeing at the NFL level is guys now impacting the quarterback. That's obviously where Nnamdi Madubuike's money came from, was his ability to put pressure on the quarterback. Certainly Aaron Donald the same way. And then I think for us, and I've talked about this a lot, it's the people don't talk about us with the level of maybe appreciation that we deserve. Since 2018, there's nobody in this league that's had more NFL linemen drafted than Texas A&M. We actually lead the SEC, and this league produces quite a few defensive linemen every year. And so when everyone was so nervous about what was going to happen on the defensive line, and rightfully so, I obviously get it. We lost 3 high-round draft picks. Are we going to be okay? There was a little bit of a quiet confidence that we had, because we've always kind of been okay. We've always figured out how to reload. We've always tried to figure out, and we have some really talented players in that group. And the 3D tackles have been a real big part of everything that we've done this year.
And in the past, you played DeMarvin Leal inside and outside. That helped him next level as well. Does it also open up their minds on how each position, how it affects one another? Did it make him a better defensive end to play a little defensive tackle?
Yeah, and I think that for sure that. And I think the other part of it is trying to create opportunities for kids to be successful based on matchup scheme. We've played Tyler Onyedem a little bit of defensive end at times this year when we wanted to get big or needed to get big to match a personnel group. We did that with Bobby Brown. We did that with Kingsley Keke all the way back my first year. And so I just think there's times, and I think what we've added since I've been back and kind of been able to recruit this thing a little bit is you see a little bit more of those twitch pieces. We've been able to add, Cassius Howell, Ryland Kennedy obviously was here when I got here. We were able to bring in Marco Jones, those kids that have a little bit of that different twitch, and those are other chess pieces that you can play with and other tools that you can play with. And so I think we've got a really good mix on that group.
I remember there was one game D-line did so well, and Buddy Johnson was talking about my D-line did so well, and Jimbo said he better credit that D-line.
Right.
That's how linebackers get to shine, right? Is all that work that D-line, it's all in concert. Is it not?
And there's not any 300-pound linebackers, right? And the linebacker's best friend is the D lineman in front of them, wreaking havoc, disrupting the lineman, disrupting the running back, making the picture cleaner. Certainly Torian York would not be as impactful if there was a guard that weighed 320 pounds climbing right into his chest every single play. The fact that those guys have to occupy themselves with what's going on in front of them is what allows Torian or any great linebacker, it's not specific to Torian, but the time to read, diagnose, and make the plays that they want to make. And so, it's a huge piece of what you're doing.
Great to see number 1 out there at safety, Bryce Anderson, and it was great to see Miles Davis back there getting some snaps as well. Wonderful to see those guys playing.
Yeah, just you're just trying to continue to get people the opportunities they deserve. And we talk all the time in our program about, building depth, building competition. And so Miles has had a really good couple weeks of practice with Bryce being down. And so it was important to us that we gave him some opportunities because I think he's earned them. It was great to get Bryce back, healthy, given everything that he went through and certainly what that incident looked like at Notre Dame. And so it just was a big relief to get him back on the field. And I think you just continue to see those things. You see Jordan Shaw kind of carving out a little bit more of a role. And when you see guys continuing to step in and out or create opportunities, I think it speaks to where your culture is, that guys are continuing to work to find opportunities to play.
Final segment, Aggie Football Hour with Mike Elko, presented by Capital Farm Credit. When we return, it's Aggie Football from Learfield. Football. Be sure to stop by your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com for some real Texas barbecue. Enjoy 100% oak smoke meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. Tyler, Flint, Horseshoe Bay, Malakoff, Bernie, Cape Coral, New Smyrna Beach, Florida, Savannah, Georgia. They've all checked in. Thank you for being a part of our Facebook page, Behind the Mic. Tito's question for you, Coach. What makes Bobby Petrino's offense so difficult to defend?
Yeah, I think it's really multiple. It's really well thought out. They come at you with a lot of different personnel groupings. I think he does a really good job of identifying matchups, what his guys do well, what your guys don't do as well, and they try to really target those things. And and he's been calling plays for a really long time, and when you do that, you got a very good comfort about your system and how you want to do it.
We mentioned this on Monday. This isn't the first time that you go up against him, correct?
Yeah, no, I think it's number 5 now. I think this is my 5th one. So there was 3 back at Wake Forest when he was the head coach at Louisville, and then obviously last year when he was at Arkansas. And so, I think this is number 5, round 5.
Yeah,
round 5.
Interim tag for him, new defensive coordinator. We talked in the beginning of the year when you take on, sometimes it's a non-conference team, and they have a new coach or a new coordinator or some new players. You go through the film. Now you're in the middle of the season. That doesn't normally happen. Do you have to do a little bit of that as you prepare for Saturday?
Yeah, this is a first for me. This is the first time we've ever had to see a defense completely shift gears in midseason. And so obviously they did it coming out of a bye week and kind of restructured the system a little bit and what they wanted to do. And so we had to kind of do this one like an opener a little bit and try to identify some different things from the coordinator's background and past, and just try to kind of get the best picture of what we may get on Saturday, because you only have a 1-game snapshot, and it's an offense at Tennessee that doesn't really resemble ours very much. And so it's a little bit of guesswork as you head into it to try to figure out what you believe it's going to look like. And then again, like we always talk about in these types of games, you just better be ready to adjust on the fly, because as you start to figure out what it's all like and how they're trying to play you.
Is that why you said what you said on Monday about how this team adjusted, and not just against Florida, but how they've adjusted throughout the season?
Yeah, I think in-game adjustments is really, really important. I think being able to kind of identify what's going well, where the matchups are. We talk about this. Coach Dougherty, our special teams guy, has this great picture of the Navy SEALs. There's about 5 Navy SEALs about to kick a door down, and it's a very symbolic picture, and we talk about it a lot in our program because everybody has a plan, right? Everybody has trained for their plan. Everyone has the plan exactly laid out in their mind, exactly how it goes, until you kick that door open. Yep. And the second you kick that door open, you have no idea, right? Is it going to go exactly the way planned? Is it going to completely change? And you have to be ready for everything, right? You have to trust the guy on your right, trust the guy on your left, walk through that door and be ready for whatever gets thrown at you. And the adaptation to all of that is where success comes from. And you got to trust your training and trust the people that you go in there with.
Kick the door down and beat the hell out of Arkansas Saturday.
Yeah, that's the plan. And so we're excited again. Again, thank you all for coming out. Thank you for the support. And let's keep this thing rolling. So thanks and gig 'em.
He's the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Mike Elko. This is the Aggie Football Hour presented by Capital Farm Credit. We will join you on Saturday at 1:30 with our Memorial Hermann pregame show. 2:35 foot to ball, the Aggies and the Razorbacks from Razorback Stadium. Again, my thanks to Ross Campbell, to Kevin Benchow. For head coach Mike Elko, I'm Andrew Monaco, and to all of you here at Rudy's and all along the network and behind the mic, thanks and gig 'em. This is Aggie Football from Learfield.
You've been listening to the Aggie Football Hour, brought to you by Capital Farm Credit, a leader in agricultural financing. Also brought to you in part by Coors Light, Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit rudys.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. Twisted Tea, hard iced tea for the 12th man. Please drink responsibly. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all. And by Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Texas A&M Sports Network.